Good evening, and welcome to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm Nicodemus, and I will be your host as we take a look at the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. And remember, none of this is financial advice. And it's 10 p.m. on a Saturday, May 13th, 2023. And welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter, where we have no sponsors, no agenda, and no BS. And let's kick things off with our cover story for tonight. Binance announced on May 12th that it will withdraw from the Canadian market. The company cited new guidance from Canadian regulators as the reason for this decision. The Canadian Securities Administrators issued the new guidance in February. It requires cryptocurrency exchanges to register with the agency and to comply with specific investor protection measures. Binance said that it does not agree with this new guidance. So Binance says that it's going to withdraw from Canada in order to, quote, protect our users and our business. Binance's decision to leave Canada is the latest in a series of setbacks for the country's cryptocurrency industry. Several other major exchanges, including OKX, DYDX, and Paxos, have also announced their withdrawal from Canada in recent months. The CSA's new guidance is part of a broader effort by Canadian regulators to bring the country's cryptocurrency industry into greater oversight. The regulators have expressed concerns about the risks of fraud and market manipulation in the cryptocurrency market. The withdrawal of Binance and other crypto exchanges from Canada is a blow to the crypto industry. However, there are still many smaller crypto exchanges that still operate in Canada. It remains to be seen how the new regulatory environment will affect the future of the country's cryptocurrency industry. Meanwhile, Binance US and its founder Changpeng Zhao are trying to reduce his stake in the country, specifically because of harsh scrutiny from US regulators. CZ has been the majority owner of Binance US since 2019. In March of 2023, the CFTC sued Binance and CZ for operating an illegal exchange with a, quote, sham compliance program. The CFTC accused Binance of willfully evading U.S. law and of engaging in a, quote, calculated strategy of regulatory arbitrage. Binance has since denied those allegations. Binance U.S. bosses have reportedly been seeking ways to reduce both CZ's stake and his influence over the company in response to the suit. They're worried that they may not be able to acquire some of the regulatory licenses as long as CZ remains the majority owner. The US SEC has also kept an eye on Binance US. In February of 2023, the SEC sued Paxos. Now, Paxos was the issuer of Binance's stablecoin, BUSD. And we're going to be talking about some Democrat stablecoin legislation later on in the show. So, the SEC's actions resulted in the end of minting BUSD. Meanwhile, they blocked approval of a Binance US bid for assets belonging to Voyager Digital. The SEC explicitly targets American-based crypto exchanges to bring them under the same stringent regulations as banks and stock brokerages. This is such an obscene misunderstanding of the situation, it is almost comical. Almost. Except these guys have influence over our financial futures. Their clownish behavior ain't so funny anymore. And as a result, many major crypto exchanges are considering moving offshore. I mean, look at Coinbase. Gemini, Ripple, Galaxy Digital, they're all eyeing a move. Another major exchanges such as Kraken and Bittrex have already fully or partially shuttered services in the United States. Coinbase started their offshore futures exchange. US citizens, not welcome. Thank you, regulators. And speaking of clowns, as I said, the SEC is cracking down on the crypto industry. And now, a legal doctrine called the Major Questions Doctrine could undermine the SEC's authority. This doctrine says federal agencies should not get ahead of Congress when regulating major economic issues. And we're going to be talking a bit more about Coinbase and their legal situation here in a bit, but they've already cited this doctrine in their defense against the SEC. And also Kraken, their chief legal officer, Marco Santori, he thinks it's especially relevant as lawmakers begin to work on crypto oversight. Santori says the fact that Congress is taking up the issue of crypto regulation and that these two committees have held a joint hearing on it, those are signs that this is a question that Congress should decide, not the SEC. A major question, you could say. He believes a court might agree with this assessment and strike down the SEC's authority to regulate crypto. The SEC and the CFTC must keep the major questions doctrine in mind as they decide how to regulate crypto. Santori says these agencies ultimately will have to decide for themselves whether this is a major question. He believes that the evidence suggests that it is. Santori is hopeful that Congress will pass legislation that provides clear guidance on how crypto should be regulated. He says most lawmakers from both parties seem to think that this is necessary. However, he acknowledges that the Senate's view on the issue is uncertain. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'm going to ask you to like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast to help bring this show to more people. So thank you. Now, Coinbase is forming a new advisory panel and filling it with former U.S. lawmakers. This panel will help Coinbase navigate the complex and evolving landscape of the cryptocurrency industry. It will likely also capitalize on relationships built on Capitol Hill. It will also strengthen Coinbase's relationships with other strategic stakeholders around the world. The initial members of the panel include former U.S. Senator Patrick Toomey and former U.S. Congressman Tim Ryan. Now, Coinbase is forming this panel as it faces increasing regulatory scrutiny in the U.S. The company's CEO, Ryan Armstrong, said he's exploring further overseas expansion. And we talked earlier about Coinbase's overseas derivatives exchange. Coinbase also announced a grassroots initiative earlier this year. This initiative is aimed at advancing pro-crypto policy in all 435 congressional districts across the U.S. Coinbase says that it's working to update financial systems and rules designed over 100 years ago. These rules were written before computers even existed. How can they possibly be expected to reasonably regulate a modern financial space? Now, Armstrong says he chose to build in America because he wants to be part of the solution. He believes America would best be served by embracing the potential of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. President Biden announced on May 12th he's nominating 2 people for key positions on the Federal Reserve. They're a new Fed governor, and economist Philip Jefferson got the nod as vice chair. Now, Jefferson is already a Fed governor. He would replace Lael Brainerd, who resigned in February, which is a little deceptive sounding, because she advanced in the Biden administration, leaving a gap. Now, Adriana Kugler is a former chief economist for the U.S. Department of Labor. She is also Biden's pick for one of the Fed Board of Governors' empty seats. He will also be renominating Fed Governor Lisa Cook for a full term. These nominations will move to Congress. At that point, a full Senate vote is required before the candidates take their respective positions at the Fed. While the Democrats hold a slim majority in the Senate, partisanship could still be a factor in moving Biden's picks forward. If confirmed by the Senate, Jefferson could serve as Fed vice chair as part of his existing term as governor, lasting until 2036. Meanwhile, Kugler could serve for a 14-year term, which would end in 2037. Cook's current term is expected to end in 2024 should she not receive congressional confirmation. Leadership at the Federal Reserve will likely impact how the U.S. government considers treating crypto and the blockchain, especially in the potential issuance of a central bank digital currency. Some proponents of a federally issued CBDC have suggested it could help reinforce the U.S. dollar's status as the world's reserve currency. Others have attacked a digital dollar over privacy concerns. Now, CBDCs were on the mind of Governor Ron DeSantis as he signed a ban on CBDCs in the state of Florida. He claims the technology is about, quote, surveilling Americans and controlling behavior of Americans. Which brings us to our CBDC alert for tonight. Now, like I said, Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill that bans the use of central bank digital currencies in the state of Florida. This law takes effect on July 1st. The bill was drafted by DeSantis in March. This was after the Biden administration began studying CBDCs. The United States does not yet have a CBDC, and there are no current plans to introduce one. At least none people are talking about. Now, CBDCs are a hot topic, seemingly set to divide a deeply divided country even further. While there are certainly notable exceptions, it appears that Democrats are lining up behind the CBDC and Republicans are lining up to support crypto and stablecoins. Again, there are exceptions, and I would love to see more of those exceptions. DeSantis said he was worried that a CBDC would give the government too much control over people's finances. He said that he believes a CBDC would be a threat to cryptocurrencies. The bill prohibits the use of CBDCs issued by the US government or any foreign government. It also calls on other states to adopt similar laws. The Uniform Law Commission is responsible for drafting the UCC, and they've said that they are not encouraging the adoption of CBDCs. John Montague is an attorney with Montague Law in Florida. He said that this new law could discourage people from using CBDCs. He also said that the law could make it more difficult for people to use CBDCs to buy goods and services. The new law is the latest in a series of moves by DeSantis to limit the federal government's power. In the past, he banned vaccine passports and mask mandates in Florida. Now remember how I said that there were exceptions? Keep that in mind. House Democrats are working on their own stablecoin bill. It's a new bill that was previously proposed by Representatives Maxine Waters and Patrick McHenry. This new bill shows a big difference from a similar Republican effort. Waters previously said that lawmakers need to start over with the legislation for this part of the crypto market. Republicans on the House Financial Services Committee created a new draft of a stablecoin bill. Democrats on the panel were frustrated. Representative Maxine Waters is the senior Democrat, and she complained that the effort was done without the involvement of Democrats, and so they should start over. Last year, the House committee was close to a compromise version, but didn't introduce it. The bill was finally introduced before a hearing on the issue last month. The Republicans want the states to regulate stablecoin issuers. Democrats want the Federal Reserve to have more power over the regulation of these issuers. Both sides have very different ideas, and this will likely cause more debate. In the latest version of the bill, Democrats emphasize consumer protection. This bill prevents non-bank stablecoin issuers from using Federal Reserve programs. Both parties agree payment stablecoins should have their own classification. Democrats want to stop algorithmic stablecoins for now, but Republicans don't, so I'm with the Dems on this one. Next week, a committee will hold its fourth hearing in a month about stablecoin legislation in the crypto industry. Last year, a similar effort was almost completed, but some committee members felt ignored by other members, which sounds very childish and frustrating to me. Both parties have their own versions of this legislation, and both versions address some of these concerns, but it may create a bigger divide between them. The European Union wants crypto companies to give tax authorities information about their clients' holdings. This is part of a draft bill, and this bill is based on a model from the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. Finance ministers are set to discuss it next week. This bill will let tax authorities share data with 27 countries in the European Union. And these are things that we've already talked about so far on this show. The officials at the Commission said that the bill was well received at a meeting held on Wednesday, but some finance ministers have not received approval from their parliaments yet. The bill is dated May 5th, and it closely matches the Commission's proposal and is called the 8th Directive on Administrative Cooperation, or DAC 8. Now what's new here is this new law requires a register of crypto asset operators to be set up by December of 2025. The new rules will go into effect on January 1st, 2026. And be clear, this law includes platforms for non-fungible tokens and providers from outside the EU bloc that have EU clients. Overseas crypto firms can report to foreign authorities that meet the EU norms. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. If you enjoyed tonight's show, then please like, follow, subscribe, leave a rating or a review. And in the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow night.